Well, it snowed. And when it snows, things break. And guess what broke? Shear pins. Ah, an easy one this time. Shear bolts are easy. This is actually the first time I've ever sheared one because prior to this winter, well, I guess technically last winter I used a snow blower, but we didn't get any snow really, so it wasn't really that much of a comparison. Um, but this is the first time I've used a snow blower. Prior to that, I was using a plow, and then I just shoveled the sidewalk. So I'm going to go through a couple things with the shear bolts. It's a pretty basic concept. Break the bolt before you break something more expensive. And as always, I hope you enjoy. So here's mine. I sheared the other one. I'll show you that in a moment. And here you can see how it fits down in. It's got this little collar on top. So I'll pull this one out and get down in here. And it sort of fits down in there. And of course the intention is for this bolt to shear if you get jammed up with a rock or something before you break something in the gearbox here, or even worse. So what you want to do is, if you need to spin this around to kind of get them out, you can just spin the impeller here, and that'll get it lined up so you can get a good angle on getting them out. So now I'm going to show you the two pins. All right, here we have the pin that sheared off and the pin that did not shear. So the pin that sheared obviously was sheared on both sides. I'll try to zoom in here. You can see, let's see. That was the threaded side, and that was the bolt head side. And it was flat in there, so I just took a punch and punched it out, and it popped right out the other side. So that's point number one. These things aren't threaded all the way through. They just pop right out. But look at the one that wasn't completely sheared off. Look how crooked that is. You can see, there we go, that thing was getting pressure here and here. And if you look real close in here, let's see if we can zoom on that. You can see how that thing, it's real thin right there in the middle. And that's where it's intended to shear. So if you hear, well, you can just put any bolt in there and let me loosen this, and that'll work. I'm not so sure about that. I mean, these things, the outside of the impeller fits over this collar, and then it's intended to shear right there. And that point, you can see it very clearly. It is thinner than the rest. It's supposed to shear there, and then it's supposed to shear right here where the threads start. And that's exactly what happened on the original bolt. So if you just get any bolt or a soft bolt and put it all the way through, it might not shear at the point where you think it will. So anyway, so because of that, I said, well, let me get the right product, not just, some aftermarket or whatever. So I was lucky to find these at Lowe's. Well, here's the interesting thing. I found one that was opened and returned and another one that was not. Let's flip them over. Same model number, same everything, different bolts. So the one that someone returned, this is maybe hard to see, matches the originals, I guess, that were in the snowblower, but the ones that aren't opened don't, and they're threaded up a little ways further. So that shouldn't matter because the collar is the same depth, and of course the diameter and everything else the same. It's just we'll have a threaded portion that goes a little bit further up inside of the shaft there. So that's a little bit about these shear bolts. I'm new to this. I've been plowing up to this point, and now I'm using a snow blower at times too. So anyway, in case you're wondering, or you're a newbie like I was to these shear bolts inside of snow throwers, there's a little bit about them.